evening. This is the Oscar contender. Good evening. This is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. And we're going to talk about the 2020 Oscar contenders. It might be March, but the Oscar season is starting. We have Us coming out next week. So what are you waiting for? Now, you've done a little more research than me, but we both dug through. So you've got the list. We're just doing Best Picture for this video, at least. Number one, there should be no surprise here. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino, I know it's coming out in summer. Nobody cares. It's trying to make a lot of money, and that is what's going to get it into the Oscars, more than just trying to come out in Oscar season and compete with the Oscar bait, okay? Margot Robbie. Supporting actress. Big supporting actress contender. Why is she a big supporting actress contender? Because she's playing Sharon Tate. The character is just going to be that token, like Tarantino, like in the Hateful Eight, that everybody's just going to love, and she's going to be tough to beat in that category. I think this movie could win Tarantino a director Oscar. He has a closer chance because it's less about like the violence, more of a drama. I do not see this being a flop like The Hateful Eight. I just really think that this is going to be like one of those movies that's just so hard not to see it like getting in. Number two, The Irishman. Another extremely obvious pick. Why is this obvious? Scorsese. Highly anticipated project. Years and years in the making. I think it's like a decade now, maybe even more. You got De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, and then also Harvey Keitel, Ray Romano, Bobby Cannavale. The cast is insane. I mean, total SAG ensemble. You're reuniting these veteran Italian actors, and they're CGing their faces to make them look young, and it's going to win the movie visual effects. They're going to be like this, and Joe Pesci's going to get another nomination for supporting before he dies.
No,
He's
Al
taking out of
Pacino's
retirement.
getting the supporting nomination, actually. Maybe both.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is a total like two people getting. I mean, he's just going back to Goodfellas. I mean, Silence was a flop, but that was also like a Kurosawa thing that like didn't appeal to most people. This movie's gonna be so appealing. How could it not be? They spent $150 million on it, okay? The teaser dropped at the Oscars. You think The Lion King's gonna win visual effects? That might win visual effects, but this movie, for being so fucking impressive, we already gave it to The Jungle Book. This movie is gonna win visual effects. Could it be a mess? I don't know. I also want to mention
Scorsese's like never made a bad movie.
That's actually really true. It's also worth mentioning First Man and Beale Street were at the top of everybody's list last year. Did not get nominated.
Happens all the time.
You got Ang Lee's Billy Half Time Walk. You got Alexander Payne's Downsizing. You get big heavyweight directors who rarely fail, and then bada boom, movie either sucks or doesn't appeal to the right people. Happens all the time, and we've got those movies on the top 10 probably, but we don't know what they are. Scorsese's most recent film was Silence, and that happened. But then again, you look back at his track record, it's like Wolf of Wall Street, Hugo, and he's like not really missing actually a lot of beats at all.
3 is Little Women. This is Greta Gerwig's movie. Highly anticipated follow-up to Lady Bird. Bigger costumes, bigger production value, period drama. Timothy Chalamet, Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Meryl Streep, Laura Dern. Like big ass cast, SAG ensemble movie. Adaptation of something that's been adapted more than A Star Is Born. But this could be the best one. This could be the most essential one ever to be made. And it could easily get Oscars. It should definitely be on your list.
It's got a Christmas release date, so it's going to be one of those things where we're going to be annoyed because we can't really figure out what's happening until the end of the year.
It's a classic novel about like womanhood.
Number 4, totally different pick because this director, we haven't seen anything from them. Queen and Slim. Why is this movie number 4? Because I can't think of another movie that I'm just like, this movie just seems fresh. Seems like a fresh movie that is going to make money, that people are going to be really entertained by, that is going to be one of the most culturally relevant movies of the year. We've got Daniel Kaluuya. He's the star here. He could get a second nomination for this movie for lead. Jodie Turner-Smith. We don't really know who that is, Cole.
But she's lead and she could get nominated.
Yes,
she could be like Kiki Lane and like no one really ends up nominating her because she's such a newcomer, but maybe because she get nominated too. I mean, if Daniel Kaluuya's in contention and they're just screen partners, then
I don't even have as much reasoning behind this movie besides that it's just like the cultural relevance and like the seeming entertainment value.
Look at who's like doing it. The writer is Lena Waithe, not positive on that last name. Writer of Master of None, fresh TV shows. Director. Did lots of music videos and TV. This just looks like one of those original movies that, you know, even though there's not a heavyweight director behind it, like could just come out and like blow the Oscars away. The Oscars kind of missed embracing those movies last year, I think, and people were like thinking that was kind of lacking. The Farewell would be a movie that we'd be really happy, I think, to see at the Oscars, because that is a Sundance movie that got great reviews and has an all-Asian cast, just like Crazy Rich Asians, but it's a drama this time. And it's kind of like a weepy, like, family drama, total SAG ensemble. You could see supporting actress for a grandma in this movie. You could see maybe some lead actress for Aquafina. Who knew? Maybe. If this was like a boring movie, that'd be one thing, but people seem to say that it's a movie that like kind of tugs at your heartstrings.
It's getting some of the best reviews out of the year so far. So it's a heartwarming movie. It has comedy. It has drama. It has great performances. It just seems like an Oscar movie to me. Some people might be like, oh, it's a small movie. Who's this director? Doesn't matter. Great reviews.
So 6, I kind of have this like I'm tentatively high. I see this as being like maybe the Bohemian Rhapsody of this year, like the crowd pleasing, like the Martian kind of hit. Ford versus Ferrari. Why is Ford versus Ferrari here? Like, so let's start like down the line. Editing, sound mixing, sound editing. Okay, there's 3 nominations right there.
Because it has cars racing is what you're saying.
It's about 2 competing car companies trying to build the best car that's going to win this.
And who are the leads in this
race?
Movie, Justin?
Christian Bale, Matt Damon.
I mean, we all know that a Christian Bale performance is really nothing to take lightly.
Christian Bale is playing a race car driver in this movie. It's somewhat of a racing movie because it's the companies competing to make the fastest car. The only thing I can see detracting from this is that this film, like, it could be a little macho. I don't know. But at the same time, we have James Mangold directing, who did Logan and Walk the Line. Really critically acclaimed films. Might do, like, a really good job directing this movie, like, as a thriller and make us all really happy. Could be the crowd-pleasing Bohemian Rhapsody movie of the year, only with better reviews. The IMDb, like, fans, those kind of people, give it, like, an 8.3 when it comes out. And if it makes a lot of money, I think that could get it in and be the semi-blockbuster of the year. It's based on a book people think is thrilling. It could get in just because of the entertainment value. That's my thoughts on that.
And maybe the performances.
And some technical categories boosting it.
Whoa!
Oh, bless you. Harriet is number 7. Harriet could be Marshall. Or higher than 7. Cole.
It's Justin's a slave movie.
Cole, Harriet.
She is a huge actress contender.
Harriet could be Marshall, where it's just like Beatty crowd pleasing.
Yeah, but
we don't know.
Oh, crowd pleasing? Really? Cole, it's a fun movie?
You said it's a slavery movie. 12 Years a Slave was directed by Steve McQueen. Just putting that director in with that kind of project made it an original thing that people could get behind for.
How do you know this movie won't be original? We don't really know the director, but guess what? We know the cinematographer. It's John fucking Toll, 2-time Oscar winner right there. This is going to be a gorgeous looking movie. We have a couple images from it actually. And we know that Cynthia Erivo is getting nominated. We know this. It's Harriet Tubman.
We know it.
We know this. And then you maybe have a supporting person in there. It's like there's never been a movie about this person. And Justin, the amount that people would love to see a movie about this person today, it's just you just know.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering.
People are like, yes, make a Harriet Tubman movie. Cool. Oh my god.
Cool. What was the movie about RBG last year?
I didn't think that was going to be a big deal on the basis of sex.
On the basis of sex. I mean, what if this is that?
But Justin, no one.
I don't see anything original about like the craft of this movie.
This movie has great cinematographer, probably like a production design movie too. On the basis of sex is people walking around halls and it's boring. So this movie is exciting because it's about 18th century or whatever it is.
Birth of a Nation is a good example of what this movie could be.
And Birth of a Nation is a rapist movie. But also Birth of a Nation looked like a TV movie, and this movie is John Toll.
It just has a little higher production value, I guess.
Birth of a Nation was very like independent.
It's a number 7. I think this could be a top contender, but I'm skeptical that it could end up being something like Marshall, where you kind of think, oh, this is a really important movie, but it's kind of just like, yeah, that was good. You know, there's nothing special about it. There's no like creative angle on it, like Steve McQueen brought to 12 Years a Slave. So I'm skeptical.
I don't see how it couldn't be like a tearjerker because of what it's about.
Sure, what if it's sappy though? A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The only reason that I have faith in this movie is because the director is Marielle Heller.
We would both say that Can You Ever Forgive Me was one of the best of last year, wouldn't you say so?
I would say so, and I would say that the performances in that movie prove that she's an amazing director, and the fact that she did so much with that material, what could she bring to the Mr. Rogers Project? I mean, it seems like she's going to have such a great understanding of like this human being, and hopefully she can bring him to life in the way that the documentary did.
With Tom Hanks, who we've discussed is such an obvious choice for the role that it could almost work against him. And, you know, recently he actually hasn't gotten nominated for much.
No, the problem with Tom Hanks is that he acts with his eyes closed now almost. And the last time I saw him not doing that was Captain Phillips. I personally am not satisfied with this casting choice because I think it's so obvious. And I just think it's almost like we know what to expect, but I hope he defies the expectations and maybe he can actually get nominated this time. But also, they don't give a shit about nominating Tom Hanks anymore. He's been in movie after movie after movie where he's just very good and they don't care.
If this movie has the effect that the documentary had on people, despite that it got snubbed, forget it. It won't matter here. If it's like making people cry and like, oh my God, Mr. Rogers, oh, we love that man, that's enough. The love for Freddie Mercury that people have while watching Bohemian Rhapsody was enough to carry that movie through everything.
I think like any movie, it needs an angle. And so if it doesn't have an interesting angle and if it's just sappy, it's just going to be Saving Mr. Banks and no one's going to care.
Right.
So
it could be
I'm saying that the director brings her own angle to it, and then like with the right production value, the movie can get in.
I understand, and if it makes you cry and love Mr. Rogers.
Sure.
As you can see, there are actually a lot of women directors that we have on our list. At this point, I mean, last year I knew early on, like, I don't see many women directors around here, but right now we got a lot. Even in our top 10, I would be surprised if one wasn't nominated this year.
There's Little Women, Queen and Slim,
The Farewell,
Harriet, The Farewell, and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So 50% of the top 10 here are women directors. I'd be shocked if we didn't see at least one woman getting in at the end of the year. Last year, it didn't seem like that would have been the case as much.
9 is The Report. This was a Sundance movie. This got the most Oscar buzz. It has Adam Driver in the lead. We think maybe Adam Driver won't make that Best Actor cut. He's going to be in the conversation, though. But then you've got Annette Bening supporting. Kind of a lock. This movie is such a spotlight the post that it could work against it. Because we've already seen that movie twice. And as we know, those movies are kind of dry. Are we sick of them? I kind of am.
I'm definitely sick of them. I don't really care about this movie on any personal level. It's just another journalism activist movie. Period thing.
I feel like this movie could fall off because people will be like, okay, like,
because who cares?
It's dry. Because who cares? At the same time, at this point, we know that this movie has good reviews, like good enough to get nominated. It's not a bad bet to put on your top 10. It's safe at the moment.
We've definitely seen this before. It's Oscar bait, but it could just be a little drab. People might just not care that much by the end of the year. There might be more important movies that we want to put in here. Number 10's Us. I'll put it on.
All right.
I'll do it.
I would bet against Us right now. I mean, 10 is betting against it, technically. And the reason is, while everybody agrees that this is like a worthy follow-up to Get Out, most people would say that Get Out's better. That's not the best look for it, but people still love the movie. It's still getting, like, it's scary, it's thought-provoking, and people are saying they want to watch it twice, and they have a long time to do so. So there's a lot working for this movie. But the social themes aren't, like, as political. Yeah, maybe it won't be considered as essential, like, of an American movie as Get Out became. But Lupita Nyong'o, I think, is going to get nominated for Best Actress, I think. At this point, she's getting, like, even more hype than Toni Collette, who, unfortunately, couldn't make it, but...
Well, I think culturally, it's not possible to make the same impact as Get Out.
Yeah.
I think what the problem that people have with this movie is it has a lot of ideas on its mind, and by the end of the movie, they're not, like, fleshed out in a way that people feel is satisfying. Also, it's even more of like a gore fest horror film than Get Out was. Get Out was like a serious movie. It worked as a drama, worked as a comedy. This one works even more as a horror movie, and that's less of their kind of thing. Number 11, Goldfinch. Goldfinch is directed by the director of Brooklyn. That was a pretty sappy, baity movie. Period drama. He's doing another period drama based on a novel. You have Nicole Kidman, Sarah Paulson, and Ansel Elgort. Maybe there's a supporting nomination for Sarah Paulson. She's looking kind of wonky in it.
What about Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman, I don't know. The main reason I have it on this list, to be totally honest with you, is because it seems to be like that movie, that Oscar baiting movie that we just we want to deny that it's a contender because we just don't care about it. We're like, what? Who cares? I felt that way about Lion before it came out. I was like, okay, this is obvious. This is such a Weinstein like Oscar vehicle movie. They're just trying to hug to the heartstrings, but I actually like really fucking like Lion. This movie, I don't know why I would care about it. I just truly don't know why I would care about this unless I like the novel. But it has a lot of production value behind it, it seems. With the director.
It has hype.
Roger Deakins is doing the cinematography, okay? This movie could be in for that. I've just seen it on a lot of lists.
But that's because it's hype, and hype matters, Justin.
It does matter.
You don't want to be wrong about that shit, because, like, you know, I remember that I thought The Shape of Water was a bullshit hype movie, and it wasn't, so...
Okay, and then I have Cats, and I actually believe in this movie more than The Goldfinch. Why do I believe in Cats?
Stop.
Because I think it's going to get the following nominations, Cole. Art direction...
Agree.
100%.
Agree.
Sound mixing? Pretty likely.
No.
I think Idris Elba is going to get nominated for a category in this movie because he's playing like a villain cat. I really really think Idris Elba and he's singing.
You really think I'm
Idris
a villain?
Elba.
Who cares?
Oh yeah.
No one cares.
Oh my god.
Impressive.
Cole. If he's in supporting, forget about it. Forget about it. He could like win. I mean, I'm just saying.
Justin, can I tell you this? Cats is a joke.
Singing.
A joke.
Yeah, and
in
they're
the musical theater industry.
It.
You really think that they're gonna be like in cat fucking suits?
It's
and
gonna
it's
get
gonna be
costumes.
a bullshit weird ass movie
They're
that
gonna
people
get
are going to
costumes for
laugh
cats.
at and make fun of. And yes, they're gonna get costumes. And yes, they're gonna get a production design. But
They're
Rebel
suckers
Wilson's in the
for
fucking
those
lead.
movies. God.
James Corden, that's gonna be repulsive to
Taylor
watch.
Swift is also in it.
Who's the cinematographer? Why didn't they just pick the one who did his other movies? They looked pretty good to me. It's
But maybe
Into
the production
Woods,
value
you
is so
dumb shit.
giant. Maybe the production value is so big they can't
Oh my
resist
god. Into the Woods is the same thing. Into the Woods had Meryl Streep. Into the Woods had huge production value.
Yeah, but it didn't have Tom Hooper. They love
Who cares?
Tom Hooper.
Justin, fucking they love Rob Marshall too. He's gotten movies
they
nominated
don't.
before. Yes, they do.
Forget him. He doesn't make anything good anymore.
Justin,
I mean, Tom Hooper actually makes original movies.
it's Cats, and no matter what he does, it's going to be viewed as a joke, and no one's going to want to nominate it because it's a joke.
But I think Tom Hooper is a talented enough director that he can actually bring something interesting to the movie.
What about Cats is going to be emotional? If the Cats can make me cry, okay, but I don't see it.
What if it's just like a really weird, crazy movie and they're just
Then
like...
it'll be too
Oscars,
dumb.
Oscars.
No.
PGA?
No.
SAG Ensemble?
Stop it.
I'm just throwing things out there.
You can stop it.
Stop it. Golden Globes?
You have it way too high.
Golden Globes?
Golden Globes, fine. Golden Globes are dumb
100%.
too.
All right, number 13, I have The Kitchen, and you also don't agree with this. We have a nice cast here, okay? We have a nice cast. Elizabeth Moss, Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish.
The fact that 2 out of 3 of them are comedians.
Cole, Tiffany Haddish is on the cusp of proving that she's a dramatic actress. It's just a matter of time. And Melissa McCarthy just got an Oscar nomination for what was easily one of the best performances of the year.
But what I'm saying to you is that this is a action comedy, and it's not going to be nominated for Best Picture.
It is an action movie based on a graphic novel. It knows that it is that. I hope that it embraces that actually and becomes a really original movie. It's total feminist. It's a DC graphic novel, so it's kind of a comic book movie actually, which is really
Which is why it's not getting nominated, dumbass. Can I tell you that you need to start doubting if things are going to be good or not? Because this movie's going to be a mess. It's coming out in August, you dumbass. Nothing gets nominated from August. You know this.
I mean, maybe I have it a little high. I don't know. But
you do have it high, and it's not getting shit.
I'm actually pretty curious, what they're going to do with this movie. That's all I'll say. It just seems very original to me.
The plot is widows.
The plot is widows.
And we already have widows. We saw what happened. I just don't think this movie's going to be one of the best of the year. Or one of the most entertaining. Or one of the most...
I think it could surprise you. And that's why I have it at number 13.
Bullshit.
It could surprise you. I don't know. I want to be surprised. 14. I have Luce from Sundance. The third Sundance movie to be featured on this list. This is going to be, and already is, one of the most culturally relevant films of the year. It's about a black adopted child under white parents who has an identity crisis. It's got some really interesting themes, and I think people are going to be grappling with it throughout the year. I think it's going to show up on top 10s at the end of the year. The main thing that's detracting it's a very bold, ambitious movie that's also ambiguous, that requires you to grapple with its themes.
Well, people who love it at Sundance, even the people who love it the most, say that it's a movie that doesn't seem like it's going to appeal to the Oscar crowd. And I think that says a lot. So that's why it's not in the top 10. But
maybe it is being underestimated. Maybe it's a movie that, like, because the cultural impact could be so strong that it can get nominated. And if it does, it does. You could see screenplay. You could see supporting actors for Octavia Spencer. Kelvin Harrison Jr. is getting a ton of buzz for his performance in lead, but he's probably such a newcomer he's not going to get in.
I think he could get in. If this movie's a contender, I think he gets in, actually. Just like Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out. It's definitely like one of these quintessentially American modern films for today. It seems like it might be kind of like Blind Spotting. People love that, but nothing really happened with it in award season.
But it does
maybe the Oscars steer totally clear, or maybe this gets like screenplay and supporting actress for Octavia Spencer. I don't know. 15, untitled Roger Ailes project. Roger Ailes was a man on Fox News.
He got Me Too'd, right?
That's what he basically got Me Too'd.
So here's why I think that this would be a little higher for me, especially above Cats. It's the Me Too movie. And look who's in it. Margot Robbie, Charlize Theron playing Megyn Kelly, and Nicole Kidman. Director is Jay Roach. Jay Roach did Trumbo. Trumbo might not have been the best movie, but boy was it Oscar bait, and boy did it get a lot of SAG nominations. That director, to me, although his movie wasn't like picture, is like, oh, he could go on and do an Oscar.
This is a good point, Cole. I think this is a SAG Ensemble contender. My thing is it too much of a Me Too movie? It's so present day. It's so like in the culture, in the conversations we're already having, that are people going to feel like that's forced, like they're being spoon-fed this story? I don't know. Jay Roach, we don't really know what his voice is as a director. So it doesn't really seem like he has a very distinct voice.
Well, he's not the kind of director that gets nominated for director. Like, if this movie was great, it still wouldn't get director. Like, it would get, like, actors, and then it would sneak in, like, one of the bottom, like, 3 or 4 slots in picture, and a screenplay. Who wrote it? Who's shooting it?
Someone who co-wrote The Big Short.
The cinematographer is Barry Ackroyd, so that's also another reason it's The Big Short.
The Woman in the Window. This movie is on a lot of people's radars because Joe Wright's doing it. He's
reason.
He's been at the Oscars before. He was just there for Darkest Hour, just back a few years ago. We have Amy Adams in the lead role here, playing an agoraphobic who doesn't want to go outside. This is Rear Window with a woman. And instead of breaking her leg, she has a mental disorder, and that's why she doesn't want to go outside.
Is it too much Rear Window? It sounds like it's probably too much Rear Window. However, Joe Wright brings a lot of style to his movies.
Yeah, he
like
is
Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross doing the score. That's cool. Production design, gonna be big, big, big. So even if it is very Rear Window, it could still have like an interesting visual stylistic take and make it feel original anyway. Amy Adams is going to have 7 nominations, which will tie her with Glenn Close for the most nominations that somebody has without winning that is alive as a woman.
We have Gary Oldman in this movie as well.
And Julianne Moore.
Tracy Letts wrote the screenplay. It's also cinematography. Bruno Del Bonell. Could be a cinematography.
He always gets nominated, always.
It could be something that we just don't care about that much because ultimately it's a mystery thriller. I mean, how good does your mystery thriller have to be to engage the Oscar? It could easily be Gone Girl. It could be a really good movie, but it's just Gone Girl. So it's not very high on my list. Next movie is The Laundromat. We have Spotlight, we have The Post, and then this year we have The Report, and we have The Laundromat, which is another movie about journalists uncovering some stuff that's super important that we're supposed to care about.
And it's the same writer as The Report, which is boring. That we have 2 movies that are the same writer.
Oh, that's
about newspapers. Meryl Streep's in it again, which makes it even more The Post. So redundant. So redundant. Gary Oldman's in it too.
I'm seeing double here. I'm literally seeing double. This movie's written by the same person. 3 names that you gotta know. Steven Soderbergh directing. Meryl Streep, Gary Oldman are the leads. I'm skeptical of this movie because I think he makes pretty boring movies. Recently, very talky. I mean, this movie's gonna be talky, talk. Soderbergh is not gonna be really interested in like entertaining you. He's just gonna want you to really sit down and listen and focus, and like very adult movie kind of thing. I don't have confidence in his ability to bring like that much originality to it. Even though he brings his original style, I'm not seeing this being a really entertaining or captivating movie.
Couldn't possibly be more talky than High Flying Bird, though. Can Meryl Streep not get nominated for this movie? That's the question. Can she not get nominated?
It could be so meh that maybe she just doesn't. I hope she doesn't steal the spot of someone who hasn't been nominated 26 times. The Personal History of David Copperfield. This is a Charles Dickens adaptation by the director of Death of Stalin. That's kind of all you need to know. I mean, he's a great pair for that on the surface. Tilda Swinton's in this. Dev Patel's in this. Dev Patel is a lead in this. Dev Patel could be really good in it. Like, he could get nominated. If he's really funny and it's a role we haven't seen him do, I don't know. He could be really good in it.
Well, what else do we know about this director, Justin, is that he basically has two big movies, In the Loop and Death of Stalin, both extremely critically acclaimed. He has a big role in the show Veep, so what we know is that he's consistent and he's sharp with the screenplays and he's good at the satire. This movie's probably going to be good. You compare it to like Yorgos Lanthimos maybe, who had a lot of successful movies overseas, getting notoriety, and then bam, American movie Oscar contender.
He could pull The Favorite this year, but I'm really not sure if people are going to be like crazy for it or if it's just going to be like appreciated by lovers of satire.
And get a screenplay nomination. We got The Last Thing He Wanted, which is a crime thriller, mystery thriller, from Dee Reese, who did Mudbound. So, you know, that rings to me like, oh, what's Dee Reese doing next? Because that could be an Oscar contender, considering Mudbound was like bait and was kind of close to getting nominated, got 4 nominations. Looking at this movie, it doesn't seem to be touching on like social issues or political issues in such a way that Mudbound was. It's about like a journalist who quits her job and becomes an arms dealer for like her dad. So I don't know why I care.
Yeah, this movie to me is who cares? And the only reason people are talking about it as an Oscar winner is because Dee Reese is directing it. She's stuck telling this like drama crime mystery thriller that's actually just going out on Netflix. I have pretty much no confidence in this.
Anne Hathaway and Willem Dafoe are big roles in this movie. We don't know what Ben Affleck's doing.
Yeah, but why is Ben Affleck in it? It makes me even more skeptical. It makes me just think, okay, so this is a random Netflix movie.
I think a Netflix movie has to be such a juggernaut that it gets in or it won't. It might be like Destroyer, where some people are like, oh, an Oscar contender.
Terrence Malick, one of my favorite directors. This movie's really low on the list because we don't know what he's up to lately. From what people are saying, this movie is not song to song. And it's not like his past 3 movies. It's not song to song.
Terrence Malick himself declared that he's going back to actually writing screenplays, which means maybe he's back in Oscars. Because the Oscars nominated The Thinner Line and The Tree of Life more than other awards places did, so they actually like Terrence Malick quite a bit. Who's in this movie? Germans. Are they speaking in German? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Maybe this is a movie everybody can get behind for the first time in a while for Terrence Malick. He's going back to a more structured story about a subject matter that people actually might care for. It's about a conscientious objector to World War II, kind of like Hacksaw Ridge. Is Malick stuck recycling his own themes and he's just never going to break out of it? I don't know. Can he come up with something really original and captivating anymore? Or are we just going to see like the kind of same themes being recycled throughout his work and he's not really moving along as a filmmaker? I don't know.
Lubezki's not doing the cinematography either.
No, he's not. It's better chance of bringing him back than Ryan Gosling and Natalie Portman walking around in like modern architecture, not talking to each other, but like they're in love.
We got Ad Astra next at 21. This one's 21 because James Gray is always committed to making good movies. He's consistent, but has never been an Oscar bait filmmaker. And even if this movie's really good, it could be like First Man and just not captivate the right people. Maybe it gets like cinematography because it's done by Hoyte van Hoytema, who did Interstellar. I mean, the movie could be a really interesting sci-fi movie. I'm super excited for it. Looks like an ambitious sci-fi movie. I mean, Lost City of Z, his last movie, was great.
His cinematography is always incredible. This movie is sci-fi with a budget with Brad Pitt in it. I mean, it could see some technical nominations for that reason. It's harder to see this movie getting in for picture.
It's probably not going to be a crowd-pleasing movie.
Yeah, just because it's going to be like kind of bizarre. Like, he doesn't make movies for the Oscars.
Sound and visual effects.
But what if it's such a directorial thing that people are like really... I don't know. I don't really believe in this as Oscar contender, but hopefully it can get some technicals because I'm sure the cinematography is going to be amazing. The final Sundance movie on here is Clemency, for which we have actress and supporting actor hypes. Especially actress, leading actress for Alfre Woodard. She's probably going to get nominated for this movie.
It's probably going to be just her, though, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
This movie did win Sundance, which is a big deal, but it still doesn't have as much hype as like a few other movies from the festival.
Like, people aren't loving it. They're liking it a lot. I mean, it did win Sundance, but I don't think it has a chance for a picture, to be honest, because it's just too, like... The Pope is from the director of City of God. The writer is really interesting because the last 3 movies that he's done, he's 3 for 3, okay? He's Theory of Everything,
Ooh.
He's Darkest Hour, and he's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
I have reason to believe that this is going to be not an Oscar contender. It's coming out on Netflix, And it's a weird movie to be coming out on Netflix. It's about two popes, and they're like dealing with their own pope problems. It's you got Jonathan Pryce, Anthony Hopkins playing the popes. I don't see Anthony Hopkins getting nominated. He hasn't really done any interesting work in late years. Hitchcock is probably the most interesting movie work he's done. I'm not really seeing this movie as an Oscar contender, especially because it's being distributed on Netflix. That, to me, is just like a weird sign.
Do people care about a movie about two Catholic Church priests? Probably not really. So
it could be controversial, and it could just be like not good. The director, while he has done City of God and Constant Gardener, which are considered very good movies, he's also done movies that people just don't care about, and he hasn't done anything that people care about in a long, long time. Todd Haynes' project, Untitled, don't have any reason to believe based on the subject matter this is an Oscar contender, but it has a decent cast. It's got Anne Hathaway, Mark Ruffalo, Tim Robbins.
I'd say it's more than decent, Justin. You know, Carol and Far From Heaven
Carol
didn't get nominated for Best Picture, but were like, you had to nominate them for like production and cinematography.
Yeah, and this is not one of those movies.
Why not?
A corporate defense attorney, lawyer movie, takes on an environmental lawsuit against a chemical company. So it's like very talky and David and Goliath kind of thing where like lawyers are saving the day. It's not that interesting to me. Todd Haynes belongs in period films. That's where he's going to get his nominations. Waves, Trey Edward Schultz, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year because I think everything Trey Edward Schultz has done is great. This movie seems extremely original. I'll read you this quote from the press release. The film will be almost entirely synchronized to music, mixing some iconic contemporary songs alongside an original score by Trent and Atticus Ross. Okay? Two young couples as they navigate the emotional minefield of growing up and falling in love. Could this be like a total winner where everybody's just on board? Or is it going to be like a weird movie that nobody knows what to do with, and some people consider it a masterpiece and other people are not sure about it? Probably the latter. People on Reddit were like, yeah, there's a 200-page screenplay. I mean, this thing is not really Oscar bait. It's a musical, but it's not like La La Land. It's contemporary. A24 is distributing it. Who knows what this movie could do? I want to keep it on here because I'm actually really excited for it, and I think people should be looking out for it. It has Lucas Hedges in it. It has Sterling K. Brown in it. Who knows what this movie can do? Gemini Man is Ang Lee. It's a sci-fi thriller. It's basically like Looper. This is like Ready Player One for him.
It's really Looper. The plot description is the same thing, and it's like, Looper's so original that the fact that this movie is the same plot makes me so suspicious. I'm so confused. But it's Ang Lee. How can we dismiss it? But like also, Will Smith leading a thriller? How could that scream Oscar to you? I mean, Clive Owen, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, nobody in the cast indicating that it's more than Ready Player One or something.
Could be a cool sci-fi movie, but even that doesn't get it in the Oscars.
Yeah, it just seems weird to me. It's like, is this an action movie? And if it is, like, what? A hitman faces off against a younger clone of himself? Why are you copying Looper? Lucy in the Sky movie about Natalie Portman comes back from space and has a psychological problem. Natalie Portman performances, though, can get nominated. And
I'm feeling Annihilation vibes in a way.
Yeah, I would say so, but I don't know about Oscars for that reason. We have Judy, which is a movie about Judy Garland, and Renee Zellweger is playing her. That's obviously, like, on your actress radar, but will the movie be, like, so good it gets Best Picture? Not too likely, but keep an eye out. Ben Zeitlin, director of Beasts of the Southern Wild, is likely to have his next movie out this year. What I would say about this is it looks like the same goddamn thing.
It's a fantasy movie centered around a child who looks to be like the same age as the child in Beasts of the Southern Wild.
If not younger. I mean, look at this baby.
Oh, she's just a baby in this. And it's like her fighting to maintain her fantasy world despite like outside circumstances, yada, yada, yada. I'm super excited because Ben Zeitlin's obviously like a super talented filmmaker from what he did in his short film and his feature film. And everybody's excited to see what he does next, but I have no indication that this is going to be an Oscar contender, to be honest.
I know you're going to hate me for this, but Rocketman, like, as you know, we can't forget movies that we just think won't be great. And with the success of Bohemian Rhapsody that this is obviously trying to capitalize off of, you never fucking
When's
know.
Rocketman coming out, Cole?
May.
Yeah. Cole, do you really think that if Bohemian Rhapsody came out at the beginning of the year, it would have had the same success? Because I don't.
I don't know, Justin. You never know with this shit.
I don't even know what to say to you, Cole. I don't even know what to say to you. It's not gonna happen. There's no repeat formula success for Bohemian Rhapsody.
What if it just makes people so fucking happy?
They're not gonna.
That nobody cares.
Cole, we're not gonna embrace Rocketman just after we gave Bohemian Rhapsody 4 Oscars. Okay?
How do you know?
It's not gonna happen.
How do you know?
It's ridiculous.
Thank you for watching our video.
Comment if you think we missed any movies or underestimated any movies here.
What do you think is winning Best Picture? That's the question I'm going to pose to you. And if you're right, then kudos.